Hello everyone, and welcome to this summary of the Graduate Masterclass, Adapting to the World of Work, 5 top skills that all graduates need. My name is Afua Kudom, and I am a careers consultant at Queen Mary University. And I'm also here with my colleague Anna Little, who will introduce herself.
Yeah, I'm Anna, and I am a talent acquisition consultant at Albany Beck, which is a tech consultancy where we bring on graduates for training and deployment.
So we'll be running through 5 top skills that we believe all graduates need. Some of these skills you may already be familiar with, and some of them you may be a bit surprised to see because you might think, is that actually a skill? But hopefully you'll see as we talk through them why we think it is a skill and why it's important, especially given what's happened to the world of work over the last couple of years. So the first skill is something called commercial awareness, and this is something that a lot of you are probably already very familiar with. So just a reminder there, in terms of a definition, it is your ability to demonstrate some kind of understanding of the role and industry that you are applying to. So what does that look like in practice? So it's you having an ability to know how a business or industry works. And one thing that I want to emphasize is that commercial awareness is important regardless of whatever sector or whatever role you go into. It's not just about going into some kind of commercial or city role. And I've put the image there of the healthcare sector, because even if you go into a public sector, commercial awareness is important. It's also an understanding of what makes them operate and behave the way they do. So again, if I use the healthcare example, it might be what's going on politically. It might be economic forces that is impacting what they're doing and how that relates to how they maybe interact with other sectors and industries and how they help their patients. It also refers to what the organization wants to achieve through its products and services. So you need to have an understanding of what they offer, who their clients are, and how they relate to them, and how they maybe differ to their competitors as well. And then lastly, how does that organization compete within its marketplace? So how does it compete within the sector? If the sector is split into different sections, what are they like in relation to that specific section? So just a bit of a brief overview of what commercial awareness is. So how can you develop commercial awareness? There's lots of different ways, and this list that we're giving you is by no means exhaustive, but it just gives you some examples of things that you can do. So researching things like maybe company websites, or looking at industry specific journals or publications. So again, looking at the healthcare sector, it might be the British Medical Journal, or if you're looking at the legal sector, it might be looking at a platform like Lexology. It might be looking at LinkedIn, social media platforms, what organizations are putting out, thought leaders in relation to a particular sector or industry, and just generally following news stories as well. It might be what you learn through work experience, and that work experience could be even a part-time job that you do. Working in a cafe, you may learn something about commercial awareness to do with the retail sector or hospitality. It could be through things like podcasts or student websites and virtual experience programs, and I've given a few examples there. So lots of different ways in which you can develop your commercial awareness. So that's the first skill, and I'll hand over to Anna for the second skill.
Yeah, so the second one may not be a skill, but it is definitely something that's hugely important to consider. So obviously over the last couple of years since the pandemic, hybrid working has definitely become much more important to the world of work. So obviously that means, working either remotely, full-time in the office, or a mixture of both, which is hybrid working. So when applying for jobs, something that we want to talk about is how important hybrid working is to you, whether you would prefer to be remote working, and the pros and cons of either hybrid and remote, because there are many, and they're definitely things that you should be considering when applying for roles, if they're hybrid or remote.
Okay, the third one, Anna is going to go through as well.
Yeah, so office etiquette, obviously in terms of a brief definition there, it is the code of behaviour you're accepted to observe in the workplace. So this will kind of vary massively across every different workplace. Every office etiquette will be different compared to your company, but some key examples of office etiquette are your dress code, formal communication, informal communication, and time management. And like I said, even across sectors, but across different companies in different sectors, that will massively vary, and that can depend on things like company culture, and a multitude of different factors.
And I know one of the things that students often say is maybe it's a bit more difficult to pick up office etiquette because of that long period of time where maybe they weren't going into offices to do things like work experience and internships. So that's definitely something that I think may be a bit more difficult to pick up. And the sooner you get into the workplace and kind of learn those things through being in that environment, the better.
Definitely. 100%. It's kind of a learn on the job thing.
Yeah, excellent. So the fourth one is developing technical knowledge and skills. So these are the specialized skills or the specialized knowledge and expertise that you need to perform very specific tasks within a particular sector. And they may be tools that you need to know how to use. They may be specific programs, or they may be very technical skills in relation to that particular sector. So I've given some examples there, and these are a mixture of things that are maybe quite specific to a particular industry, or things that could be transferable and relate to lots of different industries. So data analysis, a better understanding of data, and just general digital competency and literacy is something that's becoming more and more important regardless of the industry that you're in. But if you're someone that's going into the tech world, something like being able to use computer programming languages, Java, for example, and maybe some of the other programs that exist will be very, very helpful. And then for some of your roles, you may need to be quite competent in relation to maybe financial management. That might be things like understanding budgets, cash flow, how those different things work. And I know I work with law students, and I know a lot of them, when they go to interview, and they're going for corporate or commercial firms, they may be asked to demonstrate their competency in relation to something to do with finances. So lots of different skills that you need. A lot of them you would have gained from your degree, and some of them you may learn on the job, or you may have a basic understanding of, and you'll develop as you get into the workplace. So just make sure that you're aware of the technical knowledge and skills that you need for the specific industry and sector that you're interested in going into.
And agile working as well. So agile working is something that we practice at Albany Beck, and it is essentially a way of approaching problems in, again, a multitude of different ways. So cross-team communication is really important, working in huddles, so coming together with your team and talking about the problem, how you're going to go about it and solve it. And it is very much a skill that's transferable from university. Having been a graduate myself, problem solving is a huge skill that you will learn at university that definitely comes into being able to transfer into the workplace. So it's things like being responsive, thinking on your feet, being quite solutions driven. But we do have things called agile methodologies as well, which is a way of working within mainly tech companies or financial services companies. And like I say, it's definitely something that we practice at Albany Beck as well.
Excellent. So they are the top 5 skills that we feel that all graduates need. Obviously, there are other skills that you need as a graduate as well, but we wanted to highlight these as our top 5. So commercial awareness, hybrid working, office etiquette, technical knowledge and skills, and agile working, problem solving. So we hope you found that helpful. And I think you may also be able to access the wider slides as well. All right, thank you.